Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version podcast is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with an amazing woman named Brittany Davis. Brittany is a wife and mother of four. Her whole life, she has wanted to help people overcome their feelings of shame and show them they are not alone. She wants to provide a platform for people to feel comfortable with discussing their shame, as well as help them navigate their next steps in healing. Welcome, Brittany. How are you?
Thank you. I'm great. So first of all, if you weren't hyped up before your intro, like that will get someone going. I am here for that.
Yes, girl. And I actually have to also notate that you are more in line with my branding than I am.
Yes. Let me bring it here for you. I love it.
When Brittany does it, she does it real good.
That's right.
I love it. So I love that. I absolutely love that. That totally made me smile when I saw you pop on. So thank you for being here. I so appreciate women who understand the importance of sharing their story, their importance of speaking inspiration into the world and giving value. There's so many individuals, men and women, who suffer with shame and suffer with different challenges and tribulations that they've been through that are sitting them in a spot with some limiting beliefs. So I'm so excited to have you on, learn more about your journey and more about what you do for all the humans now. So thank you for being here.
Of course, yes. I'm so excited, first of all, to share everything that I've struggled through. Everyone has a story. Every single person is touched by shame. Every person. It doesn't matter if it's shameful because of what you're wearing, what you can afford, what you can do, where you live, your house, like everything is drawn in shame. And if you can just say it, open up, let it out, say it to one person, and that one person just go, you know what? I feel you. I'm here for you. I'm going to sit in this shame with you and we're going to move on. It is so empowering. I can't even explain how empowering that feels.
Yeah, definitely 100. So I want to jump right in. I want to ask about a story. I want to ask about a story that maybe pivoted your life or changed your life in one way or the other. And then let us know what you learned from that story.
Yeah. So I feel like with everyone in this world, we have a plethora of stories. It doesn't even have to be just one. Every day, I feel like we can even have a new story, right? Of something that changed us, something that shaped us. And so from my story, from me being a little kid growing up and things, one pivotal moment in my life was when I was about 15, 16, I feel like I was taken advantage of by a 19-year-old guy. And he just told me basically that if I wanted to be with him, then I would need to do certain things to be with him. And after doing these certain things and trying to prove my worth, he hung up on me and he never spoke to me again. And going through that through my life and never telling anyone until I'm 35 years old, I can't even tell you the impact that had on my life. Like feeling so shameful that one, thinking it was my fault, thinking that I must have done something, trying to figure this out, but also doing that on my own. A 16-year-old girl that knows nothing. I grew up in church my whole life. So of course, who am I going to tell around me, right? Like, what are you going to do? Go to the pastor and tell him what you did? Like, no, you're not going to do that. That's so shameful. That's not even a thought in your mind at that point. So having to go through such a shameful thing and then just continuing to add upon, oh, I'm shameful about this. Well, this added in. Well, since I didn't tell anybody about this, I surely can't tell anybody about this. And your life just goes into this one big mess where you're dealing with so many difficulties by yourself. And some people can't take it. And that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous that there are so many people in this world that you could literally just say, hey, I'm struggling with this, and just let that person hear it. And it would heal you in ways you can't comprehend. I can't even explain it to you because it's so beautiful and so moving. It's just amazing. So what happened to me is through going through this, about a couple months ago, I really, really struggled. I was down and out. I was crying every day. I was trying to figure out, why am I unhappy? How could I be unhappy? I have a house. It's beautiful. I have 4 children. I have a husband that unconditionally loves me. How can I look at myself and think that I'm not where I should be? How could that even be a thing, right? Like society says, you got this, you got this, you got this, and I checked it off my list. So where's the happiness come? Why am I not receiving this? Yeah. And it's through looking at all that, looking at myself and understanding finally that all this shame built up inside of me really is giving me this shell of a person that I don't even know. And so now that I'm going through life in the shell of a person that, I'm so shameful for everything. So I have on this mask of this happy person that's loving life and here for everybody. And I'm here for everybody else's growth, but I never get to grow. Yeah. That's amazing. Like, how am I sitting around watching everyone around me grow? I'm clapping for them. I'm cheering from the sidelines. I'm giving them every bit of positivity, but nobody is giving anything to me, including myself. Yeah. And it's just mind-boggling to me that this is a daily struggle with everyone that I didn't even realize until I'm 35 years old. I'm going through my daily life just thinking this is how life is. And then all of a sudden, passing before me, it's like, hey, if you just share this story, I wonder how you feel. And that's where I got to the point of, if I'll just share this, I wonder what could happen. What's the worst that could happen, right? You say you don't like me. Well, I don't like myself. So you're not going to hurt me any more than I've hurt myself. That's wild. So I come and I decide, okay, I'm going to share this story. Like I told you, no one knows this story. Like my husband does not know this story. And so I decide that I'm going to randomly start a podcast and I'm going to share it. I'm going to see what happens. And through tears and anxiousness, I just shared my whole story and I put it out there. And I could not believe people that have just passed me by, acquaintances that I never thought would give me the time of day because I didn't deserve it, because I see how these amazing people are, right? I can always find amazing people around me. I just don't think I'm worthy enough to talk to them. Yeah. So when I shared my story and these people that I put up here on this amazing level started meeting me where I was at and started saying, hey, I felt that way before. It wasn't the same situation, but man, I could tell you some stories where I have felt so shameful. I didn't think I'd ever get over it. And these people start coming out of the woodworks and things that I never expected to even bless me more than I could ever even imagine. Because you have people saying, I'm so sad. Can I just call you? Can I just share my sadness with you? Can you just hear it and tell me that it's okay? Tell me that I'm going to make it, that I'm going to get up and I'm going to go on the next day and it's going to be okay. Yeah. And you wouldn't believe the amount of people that could just absorb that and change their whole lives. It's incredible.
Wow. I love that. What made you do that? What made you feel a pull to start sharing your story? Did something happen?
So I just felt I couldn't get anything right. Everywhere that I looked to try and get help, I couldn't get it right. I went to church. I started going to church and I'm like, okay, I grew up in church my whole life. So I'm going to church every Sunday. And really, it's just a checkbox. I'm not feeling anything there. I'm not, having this emotional pull there. I'm just trying to find happiness. I start reading books. I've never read books in my life. But all of a sudden, and I didn't read them, by the way, because I didn't feel like I could understand them. Another part of shame, I didn't feel like I was smart enough to understand these books, so I didn't even start reading them.
Wow.
And so I had somebody give me a book or tell me to read a book, and it's called, I believe it's called The Body Keeps the Score, and it's all about trauma. And I went through significant trauma in my childhood, but I also got very, very sick. So here I am in this beautiful home. I've got these 4 amazing kids. I've got this amazing husband, and I'm stuck in my room looking out the window, watching them enjoy life because I'm so sick. My body quit on me. I had these sicknesses that no one could figure out. One day I'm in the emergency room with a sickness on the left-hand side of my body. 2 days later, I'm in the emergency room with a sickness on the right-hand side of my body. No one can explain it. They see it on the screens. There's something wrong, but no one can explain it. And through all these sicknesses, through feeling like I'm in prison when I'm supposed to be at the best point in my life, I finally got to the point of desperation and just trying to figure out what could make me feel better. What am I not doing right in my life? Where am I going wrong? And so I started reading that book. And then I started reading, there's another book, it'll come to me in just a second, but I started reading another book that really just dramatically changed my life and everything about it. Because when you start understanding that everyone feels the same way you do, it opens up doors you never thought existed.
Yeah.
When people that are CEOs of companies, doctors, lawyers, things like that can come to your level and say, hey, I had an experience like that. Then you suddenly see them as a person. You don't see them as their authority figure or as this amazing, incredible person that you have built so high up. Even all these celebrities, we built all these celebrities up. We're buying all their merchandise. We're doing everything for them. But they still feel the same way we do. They're still real people that are just sad, that are just struggling to go on every day. And when you find that happiness, those are the celebrities we talk about, right? Keanu Reeves. When you hear about Keanu Reeves, the only thing you hear about Keanu Reeves is that he's positive and he's had the worst things happen to him. And that's why people talk about him. They don't talk about him because, oh, he's just a nice person. No, his story is linked with all the things that have happened to him that has made him into this nice person. We can't believe he would be so nice after, death like this in his family, after loss like this surrounding him. We can't believe it. Yeah. And that's why we talk about him. If he wasn't this happy, delightful person that walked around, that didn't have all this trauma, people would be like, okay, whatever, just walk past him. So things like that, it really shapes people. And I think it really would help if people just understood that everybody struggles. Everybody's going through this. Every little amount of shame you have when you go and slide your card and it's declined, everybody's felt that at one point or another, right? Like, come on. And that's a simple little thing, but that could hold weight and that could hold things in people's lives that you don't even know.
Yeah, definitely. Some of us more than others, for sure.
Right.
At what point did you start to acknowledge that you needed to figure out this thing called shame?
So, in one of the books that I got, it was, I thought, let me see what it was, because it was amazing. I thought it was Just Me, but it isn't. And it's by Brene Brown. And I started reading this book, and at first I was like, whatever, another self-help book, blah, blah, blah. But I literally bought it because it was buy one, get one half off, and it happened to be in the half off pile. And so I was like, I can't pass up a good deal, right? Like, I'm going to get this. So I buy this book, and I start reading this book, and I can't believe how relatable it is. I can't believe the things that they say. So, for example, in this book, they give you an analogy. So they say, okay, a woman comes up, parks in front of her kid's school to drop them off. She ends up passing out drunk. People run over, what's wrong? They finally figure she's drunk. They call the ambulance. She gets sent away. She's got to go through, care and things like that you have to go through when you have an alcohol problem. We take a different person, comes up to the school, drops off their kids at the school line. has a heart attack, has some kind of problem, a medical condition, and passes out. Now, when you take those two people and you look at them, who do you think got asked, hey, can I take your kids to school for you? Can I come over and help you? You know, does your family need dinner tonight? Not the one that had the alcohol problem. Yeah, the person with the heart attack. So why are we looking at people in such different lights when they both have problems? Obviously, it's an issue. Why did this person's kids have to suffer, have to have nobody there for them, emotionally, physically, anything, when this over here just looks better to us, right? It's easier to help these people. We don't want to sit with people when they're feeling bad and shitty and sad. Nobody likes that. We want to see the happiness and the positivity. But we need to have people out there who will go, you know what? I can't believe that happened. I can't believe that you were drunk and dropped off your kids like that. But it's okay. Because you must have been going through something so bad that you couldn't even fathom the thought of staying home. You had to bring your kids to school, right? Yeah. So the fact that you know you had to bring your kids to school and you got them there no matter what, we know you're trying to do the right thing. We just got to figure the path to get there. And if people can just stop and sit in that shame and go, this isn't okay, but it will be. We'll make it. Yeah. That's, I think, what people are missing out on this day and age. We're so quick to pass people by, to write it off as they have a bad attitude. There's something wrong with them, this or that, when they're just having a bad day. And you had one yesterday and the day before and the day before that, and it affected everyone. So let's just look at these people in the same way.
Absolutely. Definitely. When you think back, you know, as you've said in the beginning of this podcast, shame is something that everybody deals with, whether it's big or small. When you first started recognizing, you know, that this was even a thing, right? Like there was a point in my life where I didn't even know shame was a thing, right? And then there was a point where I recognized it was a thing. When you started to realize, hey, this is something that I need to start healing from, what were a few of the steps or a few of the things that you did to step into healing? Because I know that there's so many individuals right now that are listening that are like, yes, 100%, this is me. I am dealing with this issue, but I have no idea where to start. Yes. What's some advice that you could give somebody, just some easy stuff that they could start doing to kind of walk towards healing?
I will tell you the very first thing that I did, and this helps me every single day. So the first way that I did is I went on TikTok and I started finding motivational speakers, people that I really connected with, people that were interesting to me, that made me think, that didn't just say something and I was like, okay, I've heard that catchphrase a million times, you know, hurt people. Okay, yeah, we get it. Hurt people, but come on, where do we go from there? Like, give me the next thing. Exactly. So I started looking up people and I ended up on Jordan B. Peterson. Well, if you know anything about Jordan B. Peterson, I don't feel like you can be unhappy with him speaking. Yeah. I don't. I feel like he speaks such realness, such positivity, even when his stories are filled with sorrow. On the other end, he brings you back to the light and he takes you on the journey and you feel every part of it. So I started looking up Jordan B. Peterson, and with that came other inspirational people. But I really liked Jordan B. Peterson. So then I went on YouTube and I started look up motivational speaking on YouTube, and I Bluetoothed that to the speakers in my house. And I would go around and I'm cleaning my house, listening to everybody tell me all these positive things that I don't yet believe about myself. But every day when I'm listening, all of a sudden I'm going, hey, you know, he really says that you can wake up and be a happy person. Like, okay, like that's an interesting concept. Like, let's work through that. So as I started listening to these things, I started to just quietly start like, oh, okay, I think I could have a happy life. I think I could do that. And then I started questioning, can this be me? Can I have a happy life? If he's telling me I can have a happy life, it's obviously a possibility because he's doing it. So where does that lead me? So when I started listening to these motivational things, I started blasting them around me. Then I heard this one thing, and this is going to come out of nowhere. This is funny. This will go to tell you how multifaceted I am. So I'm listening to Kevin Gates, which is a very big rapper. And he says something that just strikes me. It's like, if you don't know who you are, go in a room, write down who you are, and figure it out. And that's what I did. I went into my room. I started listening to all these positive things just pouring into me. And it was loud. Like, you could hardly think because it was so much. But I was listening to all this and I started writing down, you know what? I don't want to wear this mask anymore. I don't want to be so scared of people because I'm so scared of getting hurt that this mask has to be on of now I'm just absorbing information about you, making a little character in my head of who you are, what your values are, because in the end, if you hurt me, I'll be able to go back to this and say all the things that upset me, right? Yeah. And I started shifting that and taking off this mask of this person that was hurt. And now instead of this person that's hurt, now I'm realizing everyone else is hurt. So now when I'm going out to eat and somebody, you know, brings me the wrong drink, and I'm like, oh, you know, I asked for this. And they're like, oh, okay. Now I don't see that, okay, as in something I've done wrong that I should be upset about. Now I see it as though you're really struggling today. I'm so sorry you're struggling. And I don't know what it is, but I hope you have a better day. And just those little things of positivity, when you start with yourself and you figure out who you are, that's the most important. I need everyone to hear that. That's the most important. You need to figure out who you are because you're not your parents. You don't have the same values as your parents, as your teachers, as the people that you respect. You don't. You're your own person. And you need to get up, sit down, get a book, write down who you are, write down your values. What's important to you? What will you absolutely not stand for? If somebody comes to you and says they're doing this, you know that's a staunch, we're not friends anymore. Like, you cannot do this and us be friends. 1, because it hurts me. 2, because I don't believe in it. You have to know these things about yourself. And if you don't know those, you can't do anything. I think that's huge. So that was the first thing. I started with positivity, surrounding myself with positivity, and then figure out the person who I want to be, not this person that everybody told me I was, because everybody has a definition of who you are. The definition of me was I was a bulldog. I'm mean. I can do anything. I can manipulate. I can tell you things that you have no idea about yourself even, because I was such a scared person of being worried of if you really saw what I did and who I was and how shameful I was, that you would never even speak to me. So it was always a defense mechanism. And now I'm realizing through all of this, I don't need that defense, that not everybody is out for me. And that's another thing that people have to learn is not everybody's out for you. Sometimes you're just struggling and it feels that way. But people really do care about you. You just sometimes have to see the care and the anger or frustration that they may bring.
Yeah, definitely. 100%. When you think about your journey, the ups and the downs and the twists and the turns, what would you say has been the number one lesson that your life has taught you?
Oh man, the number one lesson my life has taught me would definitely be you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to be so aware of everything that makes you who you are that nothing bothers you. Because if somebody says something about you, you already know that's not who you are. So it doesn't even faze you. You don't even have to give it a second thought. Oh, somebody over there said that I was, cheating somebody out of money. What? Like, I know that's not who I am. Now I'm curious to find out where you thought that, but I know that's not me. So I don't even give things a second thought anymore. Knowing who you are, what you stand for, what you believe in, what you will and won't put up with, it'll change your whole life. It'll change who you're around. It'll change who you let come around, which is a thing. It'll give you boundaries that you never even knew you needed to have. And showing this, people will show who they are. As you start to change, all this is not fun. It's lonely. That's a big thing too, is that people want to act like, oh, I'm just this healed, wonderful, happy person. And all I did was listen to some positive things. And all of a sudden now I'm changed. That's not how it works. There's a part in there in between this, I'm feeling horrible and I feel like I maybe have a little bit of hope. And it's this little circle of just sadness and loneliness where you start to go, okay, this is who I am. And other people around you go, no, it's not. No, that's not who you are. That's not who you've been. What are you talking about? And you have to get past that part. And those people, that's going to be the most painful, because you're either going to realize that you let in people in your life that don't deserve you, and that's going to hurt because you have to let them go.
Yeah.
Or you're going to find the gems, and there will be very few of them, but there will be gems that will build you up that you never thought before. And they were just waiting for you to show a vulnerable moment. Yeah. Because for someone like me, my whole life, I've never shown vulnerability. Even my husband, up until probably a year ago, he's never seen me vulnerable. I don't let that happen. That's not who I am. That's not how I grew up. But now being able to show this vulnerable side, it even brings out sides in people that I couldn't believe. Little gems in them are shining back at me where I'm like, I didn't even know you had that in you. Like, you're an amazing person. And they're able to show me sides of them that I can't believe just because I shared something that, you know, I thought was awful.
Wow. Super powerful. Super powerful.
That's great.
What were some, what was the limiting belief that you had to shed in this transformation that you've been on?
Oh, man. I feel like there's a million limiting beliefs. One is that you can't, you know what? There's one that I dealt with very recently, and that you can be whoever you want to be, right? You can wake up and decide, today, I'm not going to wear this mask anymore. I'm not going to be this hard person that has to be this to protect themselves. You can wake up and say, you know what? I want to be a kind person today. I want to wake up and I want to make sure everyone around me feels loved. I want to wake up and I want to be positive at work today. And you're going to get some flack, because if people have seen you as this negative, always bringing stuff, they're going to bring that stuff to you. Yeah. So your friends who are like, oh, you know, oh, I've got some news to tell somebody. I got to share this. And it's bad, crappy stuff that you really don't need to fill your life with, just gossiping. They're going to come to you, but you got to understand you've been that person for forever. Yeah. So being able to tell them, hey, yeah, I had to tell somebody in a conversation a week or two ago. It was a conversation where it was about a friend, another friend that we both mutually knew. And I had been really hurt, but I came to them. I told them, listen, I know you're a part of this conversation, so I'm going to tell you what happened, but I want you to know I'm not gossiping. I don't want you to think that I'm gossiping. I don't want this to go anywhere else. And I'm telling you only because you were involved, not because I feel any type of way about this person. And that person looked at me and said, I'm going to use that. I'm going to use that going forward, because I've never had anybody say that to me. And that's a really cool statement. Yeah. And I was like, well, I need you to know who I am now, because who I was would have taken everything, told you everything that I wanted you to know so that you could be on my side, and then we could create like a team against this person, right?
Yeah.
And so this time it came in just so differently, and it was hard for me. I felt a little nauseated when I was like telling this person I don't want to gossip, because who talks like that in a friendly conversation? Like, I don't want to gossip. Like, you're like, okay, go away, lady. Nobody wants to talk to you, right? We want to hear the good stuff. But being able to say that, being able to separate myself from who I was versus who I am, man, it is so uplifting. It is such a good feeling to know that I can be a kind person, even when my past says you're not. Yeah. You know, even when everything says you're not worthy, you don't deserve these people in your life, you don't deserve all the positivity, I can now look at that and go, yes, I do, because I'm working for it now. I'm being the positive light that everyone said I never had. And I'm able to shed this mask of terror, of sheer terror that someone would know who I was and would see me for who I was. And now that's able to be shed, and people see me in a different light, and I see myself in a different light. So being able to be who you are is the biggest lesson. You can wake up today. You can wake up at any point in time and say, I don't want to be XYZ anymore. I want to be this. This is how I felt the whole time. I was just too scared, too sad, nobody supported me to believe that I could be this person. And here I am. Letting that go is huge.
Yeah, for sure. There's a question here from Amir. He's asking, how is shame produced and why?
So how is shame produced? So I feel like shame is everywhere. Shame is from when you're a little kid, right? So you have this little kid and they walk over and they do something that I don't like. And I'm immediately, hey, punishing them in whatever way I see fit. Hey, don't do this. And immediately you have that feeling. You see the little kid, they're like, what? Why would you do that to me? Like, I just want to touch the Christmas tree, and the Christmas tree is a cool feeling and texture. And now you're telling me I can't do it? And it starts there. It starts in that very moment. Now, do you need to punish your kids and make sure they're not doing things? 100%. But it starts building from there. So then you grow up and, you're in middle school and somebody's like, oh, I don't really like that outfit. I can afford better than that. I don't know why you don't buy better. And there it goes again. And you take that and you take all these little tiny things and you store them. And it changes who you are, because now you feel, okay, well, maybe I do need different money. Maybe I do need to buy different stuff, because if I didn't, this person wouldn't say this to me. And it all comes from this uncomfortability with being who you are. This uncomfortability of, I feel okay in this shirt today. It's not what I normally wear, but I feel good in it. So I'm going to wear it. So being able, it comes from just life. Everybody's going to have it. Everybody's going to do it. Some people shame you in trying to help you. I have been caught red-handed shaming my sisters and things like that to get them to stop doing what they're doing. So if I don't agree with their choices, I really wouldn't do that. I really wouldn't go out tonight. I really wouldn't, wear that kind of outfit. That's shame right there. That's based in something I feel. I feel I wouldn't wear that outfit. I feel I wouldn't go out. What does that have to do with her? Yeah. Why am I messing up her life, everything that she's trying to do, just because I don't feel it's okay? Yeah. Maybe I should not feel it's okay for me and leave that with me. Maybe that's where it needs to go. Or maybe I need to figure out why I feel this way. Because if I go back, I can go back to my life and go, I grew up in a Christian household where we didn't wear this, we didn't talk like this, we didn't do this. And some of those things are still ingrained in me that I'm trying to break ties with and find out who I really am there too. So I think it starts everywhere. And I am so sorry. What was the second part of it? Because I know where it starts.
How is shame produced and why is it produced? I feel like you answered that.
Oh, yeah. Why? It's just, it's a naturally occurring thing in society. Everywhere you go. For every reason, right? If you don't like mayonnaise, I don't like ranch. Do you know how many times I go places and people are like, oh, you don't like ranch? Why don't you like it? What do you eat with your food? What else do you not eat? Like a silly, trivial condiment, okay, that we're now suddenly in this thing about. And I'm like, guys, it's just ranch. But it's so ingrained in people to just start to just combat and question that we have no room for this love and this healing that we could all bring.
Yeah. I've been sober 17 years and it is always an interesting concept as far as it's just a drink.
Right.
Like it would be like if I said I don't drink Sprite or I don't drink Sunny D or I don't drink any like juicy juice. Like there's a lot of drinks I don't drink anymore. You know what I mean? But for some reason, at this point in my sobriety, it's, unless it's like a new person, somebody might be like, really? But yeah, it's very similar concept as far as, what?
Yes. And the amount of people that goes in perfectly to what I said earlier, because I can't imagine the amount of people who passed you by, who turned their head and looked the other way, just for the sheer fact that they didn't want to deal with, that could be them. Yeah. I just told my sister the other day, we were talking about things. She's like, well, I want to understand why you feel so passionate about this. Can you just explain to me? And I finally figured it out. I am one mistake, not even a mistake. I am one step away from being the crackhead on the corner, just like I'm one step away from being in this house, living with these 4 kids. I am 1 degree away from that. And that's what scares people. When people start to realize this could be me, I could be the one drinking, I could be the one out there, I could be the one out here selling my body, I could be doing all this stuff. When they start to realize that, boy, you turn on blinders real quick because you don't want to see that. Who wants to see that? Nobody wants to feel like they could be as bad as somebody else, as the worst thing they've seen in their mind. Nobody wants to feel that. So it's so easy to put on blinders and go, you know what? They'll get help when they need it. I don't need to help them. They'll figure it out. They're going to mess up my life if I bring them in. No one's saying you've got to take this person, move them in, and affect your whole family. But you can't go to that person and be like, hey, I see you're struggling. When you want help, I am here for it. Right now, you may be mad. They may not want anything. But one day, they're going to remember you said that. And they'll look for you. And you better not lie to them. Don't you go out here and be telling people I'm here for you and you're not. Because I've met a lot of those people who were like me, who just want to know information about people. And so they say they're here for you. And then all of a sudden you have to go through this whole little bit of shame, this whole little bit of loneliness, because you realize you let someone in your life that really wasn't here for you. And it's hard. It's hard, but it can happen, and you can be happy. You can wake up in the morning and want to wake up. That's so huge.
How does one know when they are in the process of successfully healing their shame? What does that feel like or look like?
It hurts. It hurts. It freaking hurts, because not only are you dealing with stuff that really in reality you probably should have dealt with when you were a kid. Right? All of us, we should have dealt with all kinds of stuff when we were a kid. When we were growing up, we felt something really wrong. We should have been able to reach out. So now we have all these adults that are really stuck as little kids and coping and acting with things like they're little kids, because we've never reached these developmental milestones on certain things. Like for me, when it came to shame, I never reached the milestones of like going to other people, realizing that was a thing, realizing you could ask people for help and that people would truly try to help you. I never had that. I never had that experience. So that was never, like you said earlier, like you don't know if you don't know. If you don't know shame exists, you don't even know what you're looking for. You're just waking up feeling shitty, going, what do we do? How do we fix this? And you don't even know where to start. So the first thing, you just got to narrow it down. When you narrow it down and you figure out what are some things that really, really bothered me throughout my life. And if you could just write those things down, you know, maybe somebody said I was fat. Maybe somebody said I was overweight, and that really bothered me. All right, let's delve in on it. Let's figure out at what point in time was this fat thing just so strong to you that it made you feel this way? Because there's something. You may not remember it off the bat. You may have to go back and retrace. And that's the hard part of all this, is that going through those emotions and having to retrace where you were and how you felt at that time, it hurts because you've got to bring all that up again. And that's painful. But if you bring it up, if you find where it's at, if you give it the light and you say, hey, all this ugly stuff can come out here and be shown, that will shed a light on things, and you will start growing in ways you never even thought was a possibility. Because things like this, people are meant to be resilient, right? We're going to fall down in life. Everybody sees a kid fall down. What do you tell the kid? Get up, wash it off, dust it off, put a Band-Aid on it. You know, we move on. We never sit there and tell the kid, oh, just lay there. Just lay there. Just cry it out. Sit. Let everybody hear you. Let it bleed out. No. We're called to action. We're people that we are to see something, look at it, figure out what's going on, and do something about it, right? So why are we having these shame instances every time in our life, looking at it, recognizing it, and then saying, fuck that, ignore it. Put it away in a box. Let's never talk about it again. Right? No. We need to see these things, find somebody that you feel comfortable, you know, saying something to. If you don't feel comfortable, that's exactly what I want to do. I have a whole business, Unchained Empath. You can go to our Facebook page, click on there, anonymous, post your story anonymously. No one knows who you are, what you're going through, anything, but people will post and say, I'm here with you. I'm sitting with you. And that's it. We don't need to know what you feel about the conversation, what you might do in the situation. We don't care. What's that going to change? Nothing. But you know what? Knowing that people are here with you, sitting in that moment with you, feeling that shame, and we're all saying it's okay to move on. It's okay to feel it, but we're not going to sit here all day, right? I tell everyone who has anything to do with me, if they're like, hey, I'm feeling really, really sad, what do? You sit in it, but you only sit in it for that day. Tomorrow, we're a new person. Tomorrow, we're shedding this. We're going to be sad right now, and I'll cry. I'll weep with you because I feel shame. I feel it from people. I will sit and weep with you. But after that, you get up. We don't get to sit here our whole lives. We don't get to feel bad for ourselves our whole lives. There's people who have been through so much worse, so much better, and we're going to get up there with them. Yeah. We don't have to sit here.
Absolutely. Thank you for all of that. I want to quickly just acknowledge those that are watching live. Thank you so much for being here, for hanging out with us, and all the goodness that Brittany is sharing today. If you are watching on the replay, watching us a little bit later, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you are so that it dings us and we know where you are watching us at and we can send you some love. But I want to ask Brittany, can you tell us more? I mean, obviously you're fully knowledgeable in this area of shame and the challenges and stuff that go along with that. Can you tell us more about your business and how you help all the humans?
Of course. Okay. So I started this just to share my story because I wanted to put it out there as more of a personal blog, as more of just see me for who I am. If you hate me, hate me. If you don't. And if you get something from this, oh my God, that's all I could hope for. All I could hope for is that someone watches, hears, feels something and says, you know what, today I can be different. Today I can move on. So that's all we're doing. So I want to have more people on. I've gotten so many stories sent to me from people that just say, you know what, will you just tell my story? I don't even feel comfortable enough to tell it, but can I send it to you and you read it and just tell it? Yes. 1,000,000% yes. Like, you want to come on, you want to share your story, you want us to change your voice to where people don't know who you are, you have no appearance, go right ahead. Anything to where you can feel like you can get out your story, you can speak who you are, and then you can have people that are truly there, truly just hoping that this is the most healing thing that you could have ever done. And it will be. I promise it will be. I know it's so scary to look at the most terrifying things to you and the ugliest parts of yourself. But if you see, if any of these ridiculous campaigns tell you anything in this world, is that everybody's trying for body positivity. Everybody's trying for positive things. They'll even put it in front of your face. This is what we're doing, but they don't actually follow through. Yeah. This podcast is the follow through. This is the really share it. We're not going to forget about you. Come in and be part of our village. Let's grow this thing. Let's be positive for everyone around us. And let's let everyone know that shame is normal. Shame is natural. We're all going to have it. So why not just share in it? Why not just let other people know, sit with you, and be able to move on? Because it's so freeing. And that's what we're here for. Just join us. Join us. Come be a part of it. Come watch. If you're too scared to say anything, if you don't want people to know, that's okay too. The fact that you're coming and acknowledging that it's out there, that's a start. That's a start.
Yeah. Where can people find you?
So you can find us wherever you're at: Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Unchained Empath. So empath it has a lot to do with who I am and how I feel. So an empath is just someone who, I describe it as if you have this friend who, they're always like, is something wrong with you? And something is wrong, but you're like, no, I'm fine. And a little bit later, that friend is like, is something wrong with you? I'm that person. I'm that person that's consistently, I just feel when your energy's off. I feel weird when I go someplace and somebody's having a bad day and they're faking it. I can tell, I can see through that. So empath has a lot to do with this, and Unchained because I finally feel free. I finally feel like this person that can be who I am. I don't have to wear a mask. I can just be this kind, happy, generous person that I am and go with it and love it.
I love it. That's awesome. What are your big dreams for your business?
Oh man, my dreams would be ultimately, I want to be able for people to feel comfortable. So I want to be able to go places and have rooms full of people that just want to share who they are. I want people to be able to stand up and say, this is what I struggled with. I can't believe it. I can't believe I let myself do this, right? Because we're always going to blame ourselves. So I can't believe I let myself do this. I can't believe I was so stupid. I can't believe I was so naive. And then they say their story. And all these people in this room can just share their love. They can sit there, they can listen, they can sit in that moment and say, oh, that is cringeworthy. That's a cringeworthy story, but you know what? I'm here for that. I'm here for that. And you're going to be fine. And we're going to move on. And some of them are funny and trivial. And some of them you can't even believe people would be affected because to you, they look so silly. Yeah. But it really does affect people like that. So that is my overall goal. I want to go places and be places and fill rooms, fill hallways, coliseums, whatever there is with people that just want to love other people and are truly here for other people's healing and themselves. Because by healing other people, you truly heal yourself. By having anybody who sends me a message and tells me, oh, you know, I heard your story and I just want to tell you, I really feel that. I really appreciate you doing that. Please don't stop doing that. Guys, y'all are healing me. Yeah. Y'all are healing me in ways that I didn't think I need healed, right? You don't know till you don't know. And this I now know that other people can heal me too, just by sharing in all their things. So that's where I'm looking to go. Just share this beautiful love and light and give people the space to be themselves, feel the shame, and move on.
Beautiful. Why do you do what you do?
Man, because my heart has hurt for so long by itself. I've been so sad for so long, and I consistently have just thoughts always going through my head of things I could have done better, should have done better. I could have been funnier if I said this. I could have been, smarter. Someone could have perceived me a different way if I would have turned this way, or if I would have sucked in my stomach and stood up taller. Like, I always have had those things. And to now finally suddenly start to realize that those things are just shame. And they're like these little bubbles that are just going up, and I can pop each one of them as they go. And realize that popping is really just freeing every bit of me and every bit of who I am. It's incredible. Absolutely incredible.
That's awesome. I love that idea of shame is just bubbles we can pop.
Yeah, because there's a million of them and they're flying around everywhere.
Yes, 100. Well, I so appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, sharing some of your story and some of your awesome inspiration to the audience here. Any closing thoughts as we start to wrap up?
Oh, yes, please, please just try to be kind to people. Realize that everyone is struggling. Every single person where you feel like, oh, they said that to me and it hurt my feelings. Just realize it hurt your feelings. You have that trauma. You have something you're dealing with as to why it hurt your feelings. That person doesn't know that. That person doesn't know where you've been, the experiences that you've had, or anything like that. And a lot of times we're taking these things and we're stabbing ourselves with all these hurtful things, but it's really just something we can heal. And if we realize we can heal that, then everything people say to us aren't knives anymore. It's just thoughts that they have. And that's so huge. I just feel like we need to see that other people aren't coming at us a certain way. They're really coming at themselves. They're really coming at themselves with all the negativity that they feel about themselves, all the sadness they feel about themselves. And anything that we're taking on us as things we feel are our own insecurities and our own things as well. So it's just you. Just be kind.
So to kind of sum that up, it seems as if pretty much anything that is said should be viewed as neutral.
Yes. Yes. That is a very good point. Yes. Because every part in my life, anytime where I've ever felt shame, it's been because I've placed that on myself. Shame we can place on ourselves. Now, why I place it on myself is the whole thing. Maybe it's my parents told me that this is the way you should live. Maybe growing up, I heard that this is the way I should be, or this is what I should say in this situation. So anything that anybody's coming at me with is really an issue I have with myself if I take it personally, right? Everything that everybody's saying is things they struggle with themselves. If somebody comes up to me somewhere and they're like, hey, you know, maybe your child should be buckled into your seat over there. I've gotten that a lot because I have 4 kids and they're all close together. But when I look at that, my first reaction is, don't tell me what to do. I'm a mom. I have 4 kids. Like, what are you talking about? It's not my first rodeo, right? But if I stop and I look at that, maybe when they were young, their kid fell out of a buggy. And they're really just so nervous and trying to protect me from anything happening to me. Now that I'm able to switch that and view that as, you know, this person's not coming at me thinking I'm a bad mom, I'm a bad parent because I don't have them buckled in. This person may have had their own experience and they're just trying to help me. Man, it shifts everything. It shifts everything in my whole life, from people, waitresses, to people that truly know me, to my husband, just anything. When things come at me, it's no longer about per se me and what they're saying, but it's why did I feel that way? Why did I feel like I was a bad mom? What made me feel that way? Did I do something to make me feel that way? No. Then I can start to reason it out of my head.
Beautiful. Beautiful. When that happens, do you suggest, like with your husband, for instance, who lives with you, do you suggest, like when you're working on your healing journey and you're getting to that point where you're understanding all these concepts that you talked about today, does that even need to be discussed? Like, should we still be bringing it up and saying, hey, that rubbed me wrong? Or, right, I know that there's a journey here, but what's the ultimate? Is the ultimate being able to hear it, digest it, understand it, and then say nothing? Or how does that?
So this is how I'm setting my kids up for life. And this is how I feel like life should work, or how it works best for me. So I feel like you have to be able to, 1, identify that you have an issue. The first time I ever realized this was when my kids screamed in the backyard, and I immediately felt so much anger. It felt like there was a ball right here in the pit of my stomach, and it felt like heat, and it just started spreading. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Why are you screaming? And I found out they weren't hurt. And I was like, okay, they're not hurt. I can register that, but I'm still up here. I am still reeling. I am furious, and I don't know why I'm furious. I mean, my kids are okay. They're safe. So why am I up here? Why am I so angry? And all of a sudden it clicked to me. The last time I felt like this was when I was a little kid in my room, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and I remember being so angry because my parents were fighting and I had to run out there and my mom was being strangled. That's the last time I felt that emotion. Now, then I go back and I'm like, but why would I have felt that emotion then and now? And then it clicked. This loud noise, I remember hearing my mom, a loud noise yelling, just a loud noise yelling. I heard my kid, a loud noise yelling. I immediately reacted with, oh my God, what is going to happen? The fact that I could put those 2 emotions together in my adult life and realize that this adult was just struggling with something this little kid had struggled with for years, it changed my whole life. And when you can take your little pieces of how you're feeling, you take it, you go, this is how I'm feeling. Let's figure out where this came from. Why am I feeling this way? Recognize your emotion. After you recognize it, then you're able to communicate that forward. Hey, I really, really didn't feel good about this. Hey, I really don't appreciate that you said this. It made me feel this way. You know, there are things that my husband does that he has no idea, that are just based in my trauma, just solely based in my trauma. He can say, oh, you know, my old lady over there, she did, you know, she said this, and I'm immediately like, old lady, like what? Like that really hurts my feelings, but it only hurts my feelings because of things that I've been through. And the way that people refer to old ladies in my life are like a very negative connotation. So being able to go forward, understand realize that you're having this emotion first, because you have to realize there's an emotion there. I had to realize I was physically feeling angry. My fists were physically balling. I was physically nauseated. Realize your emotion, recognize it, and then communicate it forward. You have to communicate it. You have to tell people, because those are then boundaries. If you tell people, you hurt me really bad when you say this about me, and that person says it again, and you say, I thought I told you that. When you see that person's reaction, when you say, I thought I told you that hurt me, and they're still okay with it, that's when you know they need to go. Because you need to have that boundary set in place to go, I'm worth it. I know this is who I am. I told you I don't accept this, and this is not okay with me. And then we close the book. Communication is key. If you don't tell people that they hurt you, how are they going to know? If you don't tell people they offend you, how are they going to know? You have to tell people, no matter how painful it is, no matter how nauseating it makes you feel, how stressed out you think you're going to lose somebody, you have to share that.
Yeah, totally makes sense. I love that. Thank you so much for sharing all of that. For those of you that resonated with all the goodness that Brittany shared today, make sure to check out her website at unchainedempath.com, and then also her social media, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
TikTok. I love TikTok. I know, right?
Awesome. We love connecting people here on this platform in order to make sure that we all continue to rise. I so appreciate you being here, Brittany, and all the goodness that you shared today. This was phenomenal. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. If you have an amazing story to share, make sure to reach out to me here at hernation.life. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others. As